Welcome to these sci-fi guys. I'm your host Dave, and as you can see by our screen, we are talking about Alien, the movie from 1979. And with me, is always, are Chad and my buddies John. And so today, as I said, we're talking about Alien, a borderline horror movie back in '79. Is kind of how they would now. You would just say, "Oh, it was really suspenseful," but they kind of call it horror. So let me go ahead and start with the synopsis here. All right, so the crew of the Nostradamo, I can't pronounce the name. It's Nostromo, awakened from hypersleep and is informed by the ship's computer mother, because that's not Freudian or anything, and they have to reroute to a tiny unexplored planetoid to investigate a signal of unknown origins. Does that sound like a bad idea? Sure does. But the crew's contract states that not investigating means they must forfeit their paychecks. So we're going. The ship lands on the planetoid but is damaged by a rock. A rock damaged it. So we'll just leave it at that. Okay. During the process, so crew members Dallas, Lambert, and Kane go out to investigate the signal, while the rest of the crew stay behind to make repairs and serve as support. The away team, I'm really kind of pulling some Star Trek references in here. So the away team discovers a crashed alien ship like nothing they've ever seen before. Inside, they find the corpse of an alien and a cave-like room filled with giant leathery eggs. Kane pulls a red shirt move and decides, hey, let's investigate the eggs up close. And because it's sci-fi, he's promptly attacked by a creature. Yeah, we all saw that coming. Back at the ship, Ash tries to remove the creature. This is after they got him back to the ship, obviously. He tries to remove the creature from his face, but the acid blood and the wee beastie's temperament prevent him from doing so. Eventually, the thing simply lets go and dies. Kane survives with a sore throat, but seems otherwise unharmed. Hey, we're good, right?
Nope.
Yeah, let's go eat. Okay, let's go eat. So the crew sits down for their final meal before going into hypersleep. But guess who's coming to dinner? Hint, it's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. The alien bursts out through Kane's chest, killing him. And the crew decides they won't be able to hypersleep soundly with that thing on board. So they go hunting. As we enter the horror half of the film, Brent and Dallas fall victim to the alien, and Ripley discovers the company actually sent Ash to ensure the alien's retrieval. Ash attacks Ripley, but Parker and Lambert fight him off, revealing him to be an android. So now we have aliens and androids. Oh boy. They plug Ash back in and ask him how to kill the creature, but says Ash, they can't. They are fighting the perfect organism. Ripley decides enough of this noise. They'll escape in the shuttle and blow up the ship. So Ripley preps the shuttle and goes looking for Jonesy. That's the cat, by the way. While Lambert and Parker gather coolant for the journey. With the terrible timing of any true monster movie, the alien arrives and kills both Parker and Lambert. And then there was one, the Highlander. No, there was just one, Ripley. She sets the self-destruct on the ship, escapes in the shuttle, and watches as the ship and the alien are blown into space dust. The end.
You really?
Only not. The alien managed to escape on the shuttle with Ripley. Doing some quick thinking, Ripley slips into his spacesuit, straps herself into a seat, and blasts the creature into space. When it attempts to crawl back into the shuttle, she hits the throttle and blows the creature away with the engine's exhaust. The end. For reals this time. Ripley enters a log into the computer relating the facts of the ship and its crew, and the final shot is of Ripley and Jonesy in hypersleep as the shuttle drifts through space. So, what'd you guys think?
Well, it's definitely one of the top that we've seen so far. To me, I really enjoyed the suspense. Really enjoyed the story setup because it was simple. but at least it was there, which is in high contrast to me, at least to Predator last week. Like that was just action. This one was okay. Here's some story. Let's set up while we're doing this, and here's the story. Uh, I'm not gonna lie. There at the end, I really thought it wasn't gonna be like the alien tried to get on the escape pod. I thought the alien in that time it was alone with Jonesy had just like, injected himself again. And like Jonesy was going to turn out to be the alien this time.
That
I
could
was
have
kind of sad.
that would have been a better ending. I think
I'm
that would
just
have been
saying,
a
I'm kind
better
of
ending.
sad that that's not what happened. However, I still enjoyed it.
I agree. It was a pretty good movie. I had forgotten that I have seen this one. I have not seen all of Aliens, the part two. I've seen all of this one. So after watching it, I was like, oh yeah, I did. I have seen this one. So yeah, definitely. Okay, so Chad, do you have anything else to add to this?
I've seen this movie several times already.
Oh, okay.
I seen
So
the
that's good.
two. I seen the. I
I
knew it
haven't
was
seen all of them. So I've tried watching some of the newer ones, the prequels, and I'm just like, what?
this. The second one, it was good. It's to me. I would have done. I would have let in more at the end of this one to go into the second one if it was going to actually do it. But that's the
Well,
only thing I would have done.
I don't think they planned on having a second one until
No, they didn't.
this one just skyrocketed and was huge. I mean, this was only Sigourney Weaver's second movie she had ever been in, and excuse me, she did quite well at it. I
Yeah.
thought her acting was very good in it. But hey, I got some questions, and actually, I got a couple that I just thought of that I might ask.
hmm
So let's go with the first one. So, all right, why did they bring a cat on the mission and name him Jones? Does that make sense? I mean, to me, some of the cat things were there just for the scare part of it. You knew it wasn't quite an alien, but then the cat would, it just kind of as a scare thing. But why would they bring a cat into space?
I mean, my go-to saying is humans are going to human. Cute pet, space adventure. Let's just bring the cat along. Why not? But
I mean,
really, it doesn't
literally,
make sense.
It's no.
yeah.
There's no sense. I would have thought the cat would have had it when the alien first got on the small would have
Oh
got the
yeah,
cat.
yeah. Why didn't the cat kill it then?
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. Yeah, I didn't quite understand the whole. It did seem like it was strictly for some of the scare scenes. That's the only reason they added it. But I mean, for the story, it there was no sense in it. I mean, honestly. So okay, all right. Is this a plot error or is this just something that's just I'm looking at it now in 2023? So I'm looking deeper at the messages and the story behind it, but. Uh, why did the ship get rerouted to investigate the alien? And the second part of that is then because obviously they knew it was there because they sent Ash to study it. Um, why didn't they send a spaceship or a science vessel there instead of going out doing all of this? Because they were there as miners, they got all the ore and everything, and then they were on their route back to Earth. Is it a plot point that they just did this, or does it? I mean, it seems kind of convenient that this ship has an android on it because there's an alien out there.
I think it's a plot point. I think they dropped the ball. If they knew they was put an android on on the ship, and that was the special mission it was supposed to be on, and not telling nobody, yeah, it's a plot point. They should have just sent them straight. Hey, you go on a mission, and then tell nobody, and just say, hey, you going there. They knew about the ship already. Yeah, I think they already knew the ship crashed there. I knew where it was, so I'm gonna send a mission there instead of just I'm gonna get this other ship that's coming in and just counterintuitive.
Or if they would have said, "Hey, we've put androids on all the ships as a science officer across the board because if there's any alien life out there, that would have made
Well,
more
see,
sense."
I think there's an underlying side plot here, so I'm going to read into it deeper the other way. it almost feels like this is a corporation as a whole doing just that, but without telling their employees. So it feels like they're hiring crews with the intent and purpose to carry out these missions. But in the background, it's, well, if we discover an alien, we want to be the first people because we can capitalize on that money. So let's send an android on each ship. Let's not tell the crew, and let's give it a special directive in case we do encounter alien life. So that whole, well, let's get rerouted to encounter the alien. The scanners may have gone off en route back. Maybe nobody else has gone that exact route. Suddenly they encounter alien life. Or, considering how it is, maybe the crew, maybe previous crews had gotten destroyed previously. And so maybe the company knows that this route possibly has that encounter. It just feels like the company in the background kind of pulling strings and just not telling a crew. And, that whole the crew is expendable idea. It just seems like a company playing on that real hard, to me at least.
Yeah, but if they would have had it, don't you think the other crew would have known about it for if a previous ship had happened? Hey, we're on this same route, and this happened to the orange ship.
I mean, not if anybody said anything about it. Maybe the crew just never showed back up, or maybe the company said they went
Yeah,
on a different mission.
that's true. That's
I mean,
true.
because they're clearly sending them deep into space if they're having to go into hypersleep and then come in and out of that. So it'd be very easy to
True.
fabricate a lie.
Or
True.
you lost
True.
radio contact lost. That's it.
Yeah.
You didn't hear nothing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So this is a question I didn't ask sent you guys, but all right. So how does Ash know that this alien is a perfect organism? That this is exactly what they wanted, and you know I mean, it kind of. I mean, I guess if they have a generic, hey, any kind of life is what we want to look for, yada yada yada, uh, and then he's just like been watching this thing and is like, look, he has you know acid for blood, he has this, he has that, he's killing all this stuff, he's awesome.
Well, I mean, let's go the long game. The android has it programmed in from the previous exploration, and so he just knows. Also, I it feels more like the android made quick observations, called it a day, and was like, "Yeah, it's the perfect organism. You guys can't kill it. You haven't killed it yet, and you're almost the whole crew's dead." To me, it was almost more of a taunt than anything.
Yeah, yeah.
I, I think that could be, or like I said, they experienced this before, and the whole crew died. The only one that's probably survived was the android that was on the on there.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I agree. Okay. All right. Now, so let me go to my next question. All right. So self destruct has been armed, and then after she sees that the two other her other two teammates, what were their names? Parker and Lambert were killed.
Lambert,
She go
yeah.
yeah, Lambert and Parker. So then she goes back and tries to disarm the self destruct. What was the point of trying to turn off the self destruct?
I couldn't figure that out. I'm like,
I mean,
I
was it
I
because
I
of the I mean, she just like, I gotta save Jonesy. I just don't know.
no, Josie's already
no,
dead.
because the attachment to the cat didn't make sense. So I'm trying to think like I had a reason I thought of last night and it made perfect sense. But then I was like, wait a second. Oh, here it is. So maybe because of the whole like we the company didn't tell you about this secret protocol. Maybe she chose to stop the like this to stop the self destruct because like as a revenge aspect. Well, if I'm going to die on the ship anyway, I might as well send the whole thing in with the alien and let them die from it. So part of me thought that, but at the same time, she was still trying to self preserve. So that doesn't make sense either because you wouldn't stop the self like destruct and then also leave the ship. Because the whole reason for leaving the ship was so it could self destruct and you not die. So part of me was like, maybe it's revenge on the company. Send the alien in, let it wreck them up. But yeah, I really don't know.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that it. I couldn't figure it out. Only reason I agree with John right there. It's could be revenge. I'm like,
Yeah. I just couldn't figure it. I had racked my brains. I was like, why did she turn it off? I mean, why was she trying so hard to turn it off? Did she think she needed more time or so? I mean,
But also, why wait so long to start to turn it off? At
yeah,
5 minutes, you clearly already saw that they're dead, and then you come back, and there was still a pause to
yeah,
think through it. So, like, why?
yeah. I don't know. Of course, it was 1979, so movies were for a different generation, a different plan. It was kind of like our Predator last week. It was for the shock and awe. It was kind of for to keep the story moving along and to give the alien time to get on the shuttle. So if she would have gone straight there and locked the door, then maybe he couldn't have got on the ship. So okay, speaking of the shuttle, so Lambert and Parker were there getting all the coolant for the shuttle. So they died. She has no coolant, and then she gets into the shuttle and basically freezes, and goes into hypersleep and all that. What is that coolant for? Was it for the hypersleep? Was it because there was three of them and they knew that they needed that much coolant to sustain the three of them, or what? I mean, I'm trying to figure out what the coolant was for one. For two is okay. If it was important, then how did she survive? Because she didn't get any.
well, you got to think when they was coming off that planet from fixing the ship. You heard one of the people say, "Hey, engine number 2 is overheating." Could be for the engines, for cooling the engines.
Yeah,
But then why would you need it for the escape pod, too? You know?
it wasn't really a escape pod; it was a shuttle.
Yeah,
So
it was a different shuttle. It came from up underneath. Not, it didn't do what the other one did.
Who knows? I mean, part of me thinks, which, if I remember correctly, it almost sounded like they were emptying them somehow. So maybe they were emptying them into the shuttle from there, like into a
maybe,
larger storage. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I remember hearing the like of releasing them, but I
yes,
can't remember if that was them dropping them or if that was intentional.
maybe it was. I mean, it would have made more sense if they would have said, "Hey, we have to fill the oxygen tanks on the shuttle first," and that's what they were doing. But that's
Yeah.
not what was said. So that's kind of why I did that. Okay, I got a question here now. That one more. This will be my final question, and it's not in our notes. Uh, okay, quarantine procedures. Why are they there? And there should be a way that I mean, how come he was able to open the door right away? Ash was right there when she's like, no, it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? If they're going to be quarantined, then the door release. Well, if the door release is there, then something should have happened to him. You know, lock him up, do something. And yet everything was just like, well, he's gonna try to save this guy. It's like, no, they're there for a reason.
Hmm.
I think of every Star Trek, Stargate, all any time where you're going to some place and then all of a sudden somebody gets a biological agent or they get the sniffles or something, and then they end up going, and then bringing it back through the gate, or they bring it back to their ship, and then now it's spread out because they didn't follow quarantine procedure. I
Yeah.
don't know. What'd y'all
Yeah.
think of that?
I think I should have been locked up. I agree with you. But here says that should have been a red flag. He he knew what it was. He already knew because he
Listen,
was watching. He was watching them into the ship. He knew what it was. The egg. So he's like, I gotta get it on the ship. I knew what it is. He hit that button. That's what
so
I'm thinking.
all around, I think they messed up with Ash because, first of all, from that very moment, you're right, lock him up. But then every decision after, like, there are 1,000 times he should have just been done for, and they just
Hmm.
didn't. So from that very start, like, first of all, if you're gonna have a quarantine procedure, there should be a main control that locks that down completely. Like, nobody should have access except for that person. If you were quarantining, hit the button, red alert, like everything shuts off. Like there should be
Or
no release button at that point.
Well, like the captain and uh the other girl, or Lane. I don't remember either Lane or the girl. They were the first and the second officers. You know, Ridley was officer number three. She was the third officer. So, if the captain and the second leave the ship, I mean, I'm thinking Star
Third
Trek
in
right now.
command.
Third in command, you're in charge. You now have the command codes. Everything is following your command. So if you lock it out, it's locked out.
Yeah.
You know,
Now,
and of
the
course I
thought could
blame,
also be
but also I blame the captain. The captain's like, he's telling them to let him in, and
true.
she's like, no, you don't. That's not the procedure. He's gonna die. Well, that's his problem. He shouldn't have stuck his face down in there.
Oh, yeah, she was spot on. But there's also that third player in here of mother knows best. She knows what directive Ash is being given. So if Ash presses the button, surely the computer could, in some way, shape, or form, be like, "All right, it's him. Open door."
Yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, that's totally true. Where it may
That
be,
secret order keeps coming back. Like
or
it's built into the
even
ship.
better, it would have been cool if Mother would have opened the door.
Yeah.
Not Ash, and just all of a sudden the door opened, and then there was an argument. And Ash is like, "I didn't do it,"
Yeah,
and
almost
then
like a Hal
So that's
idea.
for 2001, I'm sorry, Dave, but I can't do that. You know,
well. Here's this. Think about it. They fixed the ship. Throw Ash outside and leave him on the planet and go.
yeah. Well, of course they couldn't breathe on the planet, so that's why, because they knew they wanted to remove the mask. Well, then how did the? Well, I guess the acid is how they got in through the mask into the guy's body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was a reason for me choosing this movie, as the last one, Planet of the Apes. We've got Spaceballs coming up soon,
Mm-hmm.
and there is a scene that is directly pulled from this movie. So that's why I wanted to make sure, John, because I know you haven't seen Spaceballs yet. So I wanted to make sure that you saw Planet of the Apes, because there's a scene from Planet of the Apes. There's a scene from Alien that, I mean, they're direct ripoffs of these movies. So that's why I wanted us to have these seen before, so we could actually do that. To everybody that's watching out there, listening, we put a little ticker on the bottom. Thank you. You guys can reach us on X at these sci-fi guys. You can email us, these sci-fi guys at gmail.com. And you can see underneath Chad and I, you can also reach us on X or Twitter. I still call it Twitter most of the time, but I'm at the David Wash, and Chad is tech underscore sci-fi underscore guy. So you can reach us there, or if you email us, or just leave a comment here in YouTube. We would love to be able to contact with you guys and talk. So coming up next, our next time, we had Alien today. All right, our next movie is going to be The Fifth Element. I love Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis was one of my, when he changed from moonlighting into the action star that he became. Just loved some of the stuff that he was in. Die Hard is my favorite Christmas movie ever.
Yep.
But we won't go into that until Christmas time. But yeah. All right. Any final parting thoughts for you, Chad?
Yeah. Should have left Ash on the planet.
Should have left Ash on the planet. Okay, John, how about you? Final parting thoughts.
I mean, fix some plot holes and you got a golden movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. It made. All right. So we have Alien. We have Aliens. We have
Alien
uh,
Resurrection.
Alien Resurrection. Then you had Alien versus Predator
Predator
1 and 2.
2.
Then you had Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
And then is that it? Was that the last one, Chad?
Mm.
Prometheus? No, there
For
was
me,
another one after Prometheus, right?
yeah. And it spans all over. Even the remade Predator. They actually take humans into their planet, but they also have aliens on that planet too.
Okay, so it's RoboCop became pretty big after the first one. They did 3 movies, but then they have the video games, the comic books, and all that. And Alien has kind of done the same thing, but it's gotten even bigger.
Bigger.
They've got comics. I've seen the comics before, and and as the movies get along, you'll notice this alien was an infant, so that's why it wasn't as powerful, or as that's why they were able to kill it fairly easily. Speaking of which, I'm going to throw this in here. Would you be walking around? You're in a spaceship. So what does a spaceship have? It has tons of oxygen. It has tons of nitrogen. Would you be walking around with a flamethrower?
Okay, see, I wonder about that too. Especially not in the thing that gives you air.
Yeah,
You're not going to light that up with fire. You're not. You're just not going to do it.
Here's this. My thing. Why didn't they just? Oh, aliens on board. Let's get back on the. Let's get the shuttle and detach and go.
At any point.
Or even better. Or even better. Here's an interesting idea. Okay, let's all get to one place. We all close it off. Open up all the oxygen lines. Open up all the vents, and just vent the ship out to space. And see what goes flying out, and then close everything.
I feel like they did talk about that because I remember them talking about cornering it and then doing that. But you're right. Why not just get in a safe place and just do it?
Yeah. They knew where it was.
You didn't have to corner the guy. Just let him go.
Yeah, just and then if he survives space, then you're like, okay, well, this is a serious thing. We're gonna, because there was more than one ship, right? That went and landed. The whole ship.
No,
it wasn't the shuttle that landed on the planet, right?
It was just it was the one of the cockpit detached and landed.
Yeah,
but there was another ship that at the end you see it come out the belly and go
out of the belly. So there was
at least 2 ships, 2 ways to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I would have defected so early.
Yeah, but
you would not have caught me on the ship. The moment that alien come out of that man, you would have seen me on it. You would have just heard a
bye. Nice knowing y'all. I'm going in there and going to hypersleep. See you. But anyway, that's it for us for tonight, and we appreciate everybody, and y'all have a good one.